What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Lady League. Yes, week 8 was wild. And I am RZ, as you know. I've got Allie with me. I've got Dr. Z with me. As always, let's launch into the mayhem that was week 8 right away. And of course, get you prepped for next week. It's time for the first whistle. Dr. Z, kick us off.
Okay. Oh my God. It's so exciting to be in Chicago right now. The Cubs are in the World Series literally as we speak. They're down 0-2. So that part isn't good. But this is the first time they've been in the World Series since 1945. The curse of the Billy Goat has been lifted. I was actually passing by Wrigley Field on the train right when they won on Saturday night, and it was absolute mayhem. People were like banging on the train cars, screaming, chanting. They packed into my train car. It was totally nuts, and I realized that I would almost be anywhere else than an angry riot in the city of Chicago. But happy riots for sporting events are okay. So speaking of insanity, how about that Sunday night Seahawks Cards game ending in a 6-6 tie after 15 minutes of overtime? 0 offense, all field goals.
Ugh.
Man, that was crazy.
Is that more than 40 seconds?
Yeah, yeah, I think she went over. I think we're getting a little liberal with our first whistle. But Allie.
That's okay. I'll take where you left off. That Sunday night football game was the best bad game of all time. You know what it was like? It was like one of M. Night Shyamalan's bad movies, or like Mel Gibson's Apocalypto, where you spend the whole movie being like, why am I watching this? And then the final sequence is so fun bad that it's worth the whole trip. The reaction shots of Bruce Arians, Pete Carroll, Michael Floyd, and poor Ken Azzaro are enough schadenfreude to last me a lifetime. That was a fun game. This weekend was full of some last-minute drama, like how about that Chargers-Falcons game? That's what I got.
Yes. I know Dr. Z will be talking about the Chargers a little bit later. Okay,
so a good game.
For my first whistle, you know, now it's time to say goodbye to the maker and breaker of so many fantasy football dreams over the years. Arian Foster unexpectedly retired via Twitter, and honestly, I just want to show him some love. He was signed as an undrafted free agent by the Texans in 2009, and then from 2010 to 2012, he was arguably he was the most valuable fantasy running back in the game. He scored 809 points over that time, and 315 in 2010, which no back has done since, not even AP. So, Pro Football Hall of Fame, but he is going to end up in the Lady League Fantasy Football Hall of Fame for sure.
Yes.
And I know my 40 seconds are up, but the highs were high with Arian and the lows were low. Does anyone else have him in 2012 when he took basically all of his owners to the championship and then put up a goose egg in that game?
Yes.
And then he got threatened, death threats on Twitter. We don't like the death threats. We don't like a goose egg in a championship game, but we love you, Arian Foster. Honestly.
Good.
Good
best. Appreciation.
But shit, I got to hit the waiver wire to replace him. Not that I started him at all this season, but I stashed him because I was like, maybe. Anyways.
Speaking of Twitter, he totally cheated the 140 character limit by posting a screenshot of a long speech that he wrote.
No, it's a good move. Good move.
I like that move. I
actually thought, I was like, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, sometimes you're like,
we should all screenshot tweets. Break the rules.
Yes. That are
let's break
8,000 characters.
Yes, Lady League breaking the rules of Twitter.
Twitter is going rogue.
Yes, I'm into it. Okay, it's time for mopes or gloats. This week there was the Lady League sister matchup of the week. That's right. RZ, that's me, and Dr. Z went head to head. And
how did it go?
I'll let Dr. Z start.
Okay, first of all, I'm moping because I lost in basically all my other matchups except for the sister Lady League matchup of the week. Ironically, because the Packers took out Hoyer early in the game on Thursday Night Football.
Or the Bears did. Oh, yeah, the Packers took him out.
The Packers took him out by breaking his arm.
Sorry.
Yeah. We broke Hoyer.
Me so
Not
sorry.
we, the Packers.
Yeah, we broke Hoyer, and basically RIP all Bears players. Meredith, Howard, Jeffrey.
Oof.
I hate to say it. Next week they face the Vikings, and then they're on a bye. So you're not starting any of them. Allie, sit Jeffrey down.
No, because Cutler's back, and they are best friends on the field.
When Cutler comes back, you got to hope he goes back to Jeffrey, and he probably will. But I think he's
but not
again
against
for the next couple of
Vikings.
weeks. And then
Anybody against the Vikings.
no, don't play any Bears against the Vikings. And
Greg guaranteed me that the Bears will win this game.
well, he is optimistic.
All right. Well, we will come back to that afterwards next
Yeah.
week and see how the Bears fared.
So
against
how? Yeah.
the
So how
Vikings.
did the matchup
right.
go?
Okay, so let me
Lady
start out by
League.
saying both of us needed a tight end, and we were talking, and I wanted Hunter Henry, and then I stupidly was like, "Oh, you should pick up Jack Doyle." Anyways, she picks up Jack
Good
Doyle.
for
She
me.
listens to me. Then I realize we're playing against each other. Then Jack Doyle gets 13 points, and Hunter Henry, I don't know, he got hurt, something. It all fell apart. He didn't get me more than 1.5 points, like a single catch. So I thought right then I was doomed.
Ugh.
And she's my little sister, so I'm always too nice. I just want her to do well, even if it's at my own expense. I gotta be tougher.
Oh.
Hopefully I don't play her again.
All right, but to be fair, I did give the Ty Montgomery advice, which you listened to, and you played him. So, we both gave advice, and we're on a fantasy football podcast. We give advice, and sometimes
I
people beat
know.
us to the punch.
So sometimes it's gonna come
I
again.
Go
don't have
on.
any sisters.
That is sad.
Oh well, your brother watches the show, so hi.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hi to the
And you
rock
can be our
stars.
honorary sister.
Thank you.
Yes, my mom actually, just a small aside, my mom, after watching the Lady League, texted me and was like, oh man, she's like, I need to adopt Allie so that I can take full credit for you guys being so great. And
Thank you, Mama Z.
See?
So, how cute.
I'm
How cute is
there.
that?
I'm there.
Anyways, go on. I keep interrupting you because I don't want you to gloat, Dr. Z. But go on.
Okay,
Just,
well,
just
I
put me out of my
thought
misery.
I had to get ahead of Brady, so I was really worried at the start of that game. But because of game flow, they got a lot of running touchdowns, and Brady was actually held in check. And then I knew I had a really good shot. And RZ had a couple of players on Monday Night Football, Lamar Miller and Emmanuel Sanders. They didn't deliver, and I came away with the win. But I would have to say that the thing that really I think got RZ in this matchup was the 4 missed field goal opportunities by Catanzaro on that Sunday Night Football game.
Woof.
I actually watched
Ugh,
that
God.
entire
Oh,
game just to cheer against your kicker.
Great,
Did
great.
you put the psychotic symbol of the deer next to his face or something? Another aside is Dr. Z is infamous for sabotaging other people when she's playing card games or anything by putting the psychotic symbol of the deer next to their name, and that's what you did to Catanzaro.
Potentially.
that
I wish
poor
I had
baby.
that power.
Neither confirm nor deny. All right, I'm channeling Bruce Arians in his post game when he said, "This ain't high school, baby. You get paid to make it." You hear that, Catanzaro? I needed you, dude. 4 missed field goals. 4. Okay. And despite my smooth Jack Doyle move, thank you, Dr. Z. I lost the matchup, and I definitely blame that dang kicker and those kickers, those poor guys. I always say, they don't matter, and then they're the only player on the field that matters. I mean, there's other.
He was the only player to score them points.
I guess that's true. What an abysmal matchup. Anyways, so the only bright spot is that perhaps for the first time this season, I finally made the right calls and didn't leave any one player to blow up on my bench. So that's good.
Yes.
Except Confucius Day, I should have played a Nunwa instead of Allen Robinson. Well, Allen Robinson is dead to me, so I don't know. And also, I want to make a quick mention of something else that happened in the Lady League. I got a frantic text from Nikki, otherwise known as Albus No Fumbledore, which is a great name, on Sunday night that she was going to be so pissed because Saxon City didn't swap out her kicker, and she was like, she's still going to beat me. And Saxon City is #1 in our league. I talked to Saxon City, Dara, last night. She did that on purpose. She literally looked at it. She's like, I like my kicker. I don't want to drop him, and I don't want to use the bench spot. I still think I can win. And she
Oh my
did.
God. Wow.
Does she know that
That
that's
girl
like
wins.
That is some
Everything.
trolling. That
That
is
mostly-
trolling, Dara. I
Isn't
can't
she in
believe
first place.
Wow.
she's in first place.
The ladies of the Lady League are nice.
Ah.
Anyways, Allie. It's your
Yes.
turn to mope or gloat.
Okay, I'm a nice even split on my moping and gloating. Like you, RZ, I had a wonderful, perfect game where I played everyone exactly right. I didn't leave any points on my bench that I would have needed otherwise. Yeah. And that Sunday night football game ended up being like my fantasy, like, all-star game because there was no way I should have won my PPR matchup because I had Doug Baldwin and the Arizona defense like down 20 points going in. And Doug Baldwin had nothing all game. So I needed that overtime and I needed that missed kick to happen.
Wow.
Exactly right. So I won and I'm now back to being first place in that league. And I'm going to see everyone in that league this weekend at a Wisconsin wedding. And I get to be
And and you're the only girl, right?
Yeah, there's one other girl otherwise.
Okay. But
I'm
you're
repping
still
the
winning.
Lady
and
League.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
Repping the Lady League.
I do have some. Oh, I have another nice gloat. Okay, I wrote this down. I wrote Allie and Crabtree sitting in a crab tree. I don't know if that's good or not.
That's my favorite thing that you've said so far today.
I finally played him at the right time, and he finally went off for me. But I do have a few mopes, and that's the continuation downward spiral of Alshon Jeffrey, Zach Miller, and TJ Yeldon, who I like to give RZ a lot of crap for not like drafting when he was the only starting running back still on the board, but he wasn't very good this week for me.
You're also without Ezekiel Elliott, right?
Because they were on a bye.
Exactly.
Right. So that's why.
Yeah,
that's
well,
why I
I
had to play Yeldon.
Maybe I would have taken Yeldon had I not made the mistake of doing like 2 drafts back to back, and they were my auction draft was overlapping my standard draft,
very
my
confusing.
snake draft. I blame that poor planning on my part for the fact that I am losing.
It's fine. You didn't miss much. So yeah, I got my Crabtree, and I'm good with that.
All right. Okay, I love it.
Oh my God, I forgot another good one. Hold on. I forgot that I needed to call Sunday Night Football Game of Groans. Okay, continue.
Thank you.
Thank
you for that.
Had to sneak that in there.
That was really good, actually. I liked it. I liked it a lot. Okay, so now it's time to recap a few of the best fantasy storylines from Week 7. I'll kick us off. Some highlights that I want to touch on. First, Foster is gone, as we know, and Ajay. How do you say his name?
Ajay.
Ajay.
We don't know.
Ajay.
We don't know. We're only 15 minutes in and we're already starting to lose our minds, so that's great. Good for you guys out there. Okay, so Ajayi has emerged. He is an absolute beast. He's the 4th player in NFL history to rush for at least 200 yards in consecutive games. 3rd career start, and in those 3, he racked up 69 fantasy points. That's pretty good. And over in case, okay, this is another thing. We know he's amazing. You see, an exciting notion, Breeze actually succeeded on the road. So, woo!
Wow, good job, Breeze.
Cooks also delivered on the road for the first time.
Right, it was their offense figured out how to do it on the road. So, fantasy-wise. So, okay, the really thing that what I want to focus on is a tale of 8 turnovers in that Vikings-Eagles matchup. Actually, how there were a lot of turnovers all across the league. What a weird week. So, anyways, they were that first half, those offenses were trading turnovers like they were pogs. Pogs?
Nice one. I love it.
Trading pogs.
90s reference.
Thank you. They combined for 5 turnovers in the first 10 minutes alone. But Philly's defense and special teams unit was the real winner. They sacked Bradford 6 times, capitalized on his 4 turnovers, and had a punt return for a touchdown. And it wasn't just any punt return. It was a 98-yarder from Josh Huff, and he kept it off with a flip into the end zone. It ignited the Eagles to take down the previously unbeaten Vikings, rest easy 72 Dolphins, and help them to be the top scoring fantasy defense with 25 points.
Slammer jammer.
Slam. Oh, thank God for you, Allie. Thank God for you. All right, Dr. Z, what you got? Fantasy storylines.
Oh my God, you guys. The Chargers-Falcons game was so exciting.
Good. So good.
What a comeback for the Chargers. Aside from a really stellar showing from Melvin Gordon and Tyrell Williams, which you might expect, the defensive lineman, Perryman, actually turned the tide of this game. First thing he did was he intercepted Matt Ryan late in the fourth quarter, which set up the game-tying field goal. Then when the Falcons won the coin toss, they made a controversial decision to go for it on 4th and 1 when they're still on the Chargers side of the field. It doesn't make any sense. Everybody said they should punt it, and same guy, Perryman, stuffed Freeman behind the line of scrimmage.
It was the saddest tackle of all time.
Yeah, it was really good.
He just was like that.
Yeah, it was really good. So the Chargers then had a short field. It set up the game-winning field goal. Other notable things that occurred in this game, Coleman actually went down with a hamstring injury. He is unlikely to play in Week 8. Normally, I would say this makes Freeman an absolute superstar, but he unfortunately has to go up against the #1 run defense in the NFL, which surprisingly is the Green Bay Packers. So temper expectations.
Still after that Cowboys game, they're still ranked #1.
I looked it up. That's
nice.
So
wow.
That's all I have to say about that. Temper expectations. And then finally, yeah, Julio Jones is still an absolute beast.
Such a stud.
Oh my God, Julio.
Saving my life.
I wish I had him on any
team. Yeah.
Okay, Allie, what you got?
Yes. So question, did Matthew Stafford slowly creep into the MVP debate?
Yeah, he did.
I have zero love for the Lions and Stafford, but I guess I have to give credit where credit is due. Yeah. He has 1,914 yards on the year so far, 15 touchdowns, a 105 passer rating, which is better than Sam Bradford, who is also being talked about for MVP contention. But can you be an MVP candidate with a losing record?
No.
And the NFC North is already a little busy, thank you very much. So if the Lions could just stay away.
Take it down a notch.
But it's like, what if, I don't know, how can Matt Stafford be this good and then, they have a losing record? It's a bit confusing. Speaking of quarterbacks, I don't lie, Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton had a sweet, sweet connection to come from behind and beat the lowly Titans in another fourth quarter squeaker and position themselves slightly better in the AFC South, aka the division that no one wants to win.
Oh,
that's what I got.
I like it. Dr. Z, did you have something else?
I did. I wanted to just welcome Latavius Murray back to the fold.
Yes.
While his
welcome back.
yards per carry did not impress, it hasn't impressed. It won't impress in the future. He did get 18 carries for 59 yards and 2 touchdowns. He gets the red zone looks, and I think that's what's really important. But the thing that I noticed most about this game, if you remember before Murray got hurt, they were giving him 6, 7, 8 carries. It was a full-blown committee with Washington and Rashad. But I think that the coaches realized it's like when you break up with the boyfriend and then suddenly you're like, oh my God, that guy was awesome. And then you want to make him dinner all the time, for the first few weeks. Anyways, so I think they realized because their running game totally struggled in his absence that they need to feed him the ball. And I hope that continues and they don't, get cold feet again.
Yes, he was on our freak out or chill out for a while there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Turf toe.
We're chilling out. We're chilling out. All right. So waivers. Oh God. Who is out there? I mean, 6 teams are on bye. We've got Ravens, Rams, Dolphins, Giants, and Steelers and 49ers on bye this week. So what to do? We got you. All right. QBs. Are there any QBs out there, guys?
Hey, not really. I mean, by
We
now,
got
Mariota,
one.
my boy, is off the board. It's really pretty grim out there, but if you're desperate, I'm going to go over some mediocre quarterbacks with good matchups, essentially. So
Great.
Wentz, I think, would be my number one option. He hasn't been great lately, but he does get the, I think, 21st ranked Cowboys pass defense. So he's got a good matchup. Then you can always, go with old trusty Alex Smith against the Browns, or even Sam Bradford against the Bears. And then, they're up Fitz Creek again in New York.
Oh, boy, they sure are.
That Geno Smith thing didn't last long. Geno Smith is out for the season, and Fitz is back, and he has a decent matchup as well.
Oh, God, if he can keep from turning over the ball. Well, we know, Allie, first of all, can we just say how sad? I feel bad for Geno Smith that he's out. I feel bad for Brian Hoyer that he broke his arm. I hate injuries. But that does bring us to what Allie probably wants to talk about, which is Jay Cutler.
That Jay Cutler is back, and basically it's Christmas in my house for my husband, who's the biggest Jay Cutler fan of all time. Really good interview today at his press conference. He was asked if he has his coach Fox's support, and Jay answered, "Doesn't really have a choice, I guess, at this point." Which is true.
What a Cutler answer.
And that is true for us as fantasy
Jay Cutler's back. Khalil's literally losing it. Oh, God. Okay, so it's a little bleak out there for QBs, but those are a couple of choices. In regards to running back, God, I keep picking guys whose names I don't know how to say. Jaquiz Rogers?
Jaquiz.
Oh, but then I don't know when I have to say it on air. Jaquiz Rogers hit a career-high 101 yards in Week 5, and then he put his own personal best to shame in the Bucs' blowout win over the Niners. He put up 152 yards plus 9 on a reception. And with Doug Martin's injury setback and a tasty matchup in Tampa against the Raiders, he's a must-add. And now we get a lot of, questions about Packers players because everyone knows we're homers. But I think now is Knile Davis time. He only had a few days to learn the offense last week, but now he's a little more time to get up to speed, and the Pack needs him. So some of you owners out there do too. So he should see some work against the Falcons this week, and then continuing on with the Packers. We've all had some questions. We've gotten a lot of questions this season about Davante Adams. And although we've said in the past that he's a boom-bust play, definitely a boom play this last week. He definitely went off on Thursday, and we can't really expect him to keep putting up those kind of numbers, but he could be a good add and a good flex play this week in what fantasy owners hope to see as a shootout in Atlanta. And I think, and obviously Ty Montgomery, he's not even available anywhere. But I think some Packers in the offense might actually be putting up some decent numbers this week against Atlanta.
I hope so.
And I hope that they do start running with Knile Davis, because every time they give Cobb the ball in the backfield to run, I almost have a heart attack because he's too little. Stop running him. We can't afford for him to get hurt.
Well, this is just interesting fantasy tidbit, but with Montgomery already, I think in ESPN or NFL leagues, one of them, they've switched his description that he can be described as a running back, and I think other platforms out there are doing that as well, because he has been lining up in the backfield because the Packers haven't had a running game.
Get with it, Yahoo.
That's right.
Yeah, so I don't know if Yahoo's on point yet.
They're not.
Any other wide receivers or anybody that we want to talk about, or should we just go into tight ends?
Please, God, help me.
I'm the tight end girl.
Ellie, the show has not helped me so far.
I want to point out that even though I was cut out of our feed last week, I did have Jack Doyle down on my list, and you guys took over for me. He was my number one waiver wire pickup this week, last week. So he continues to be on there if you have not picked him up so far. We have a few others. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I would recommend picking up Jacob Tammy of the Falcons. I dropped him a few weeks back, and I'm mad at myself for it. Just because
I think we've talked about adding, and I think he's been added and dropped like
20
Yes,
times.
but I will say, sadly, the Packers secondary is weak and a little bit banged up. So he may be a bit of a threat. Someone who I really like, who is having a little bit of a renaissance, is the Redskins tight end Vernon Davis, because Jordan Reed is not expected to play. Davis had a real solid performance this past week, and I think he's going to continue to reemerge in jolly old London this weekend against the Bengals.
You're like, Allie didn't even care about Vernon Davis. She just wanted a reason to
Yeah,
say
exactly. Let's see. So Cameron Brate hasn't really proven much, but Doug Martin and Charles Sims are kind of out for the Buccaneers, so he might have had a decent shot at the end zone. I've got him, and that's it.
What do we do with Hunter
Henry? That's pretty good.
Hunter Henry and the Antonio Gates situation, and Henry might be injured. I'm just not sure what to do with him.
Gates had a pretty good game, right?
He dropped a lot of passes.
Yeah,
he dropped a lot,
which would have won him the game.
We continue to monitor that situation. And
only if you're desperate. Only if you're desperate.
Well, I am.
Okay, then go for it. Best of luck.
Oh yeah, good luck. Good luck to you.
I don't know. I believe in Vernon Davis.
No, yeah,
okay.
I'm sorry
Vernon
for
Davis
saying
it
that
is.
you didn't really believe in him.
I
Allie
do.
puts her stamp of approval, and she's our tight end girl. She said Jack Doyle. None of you heard it because she got cut out of the feed.
But it was there.
It was there.
Can I say one thing about the London games? Do you guys want to
Yeah.
know the real reason I love the London games?
It's because you wake up and it's the fourth quarter.
It's because I could, if I want to, I can watch football from like 8 in the morning to like midnight.
Yep. That's Sunday.
Yeah. Wow.
It's a beautiful
Wow.
thing.
I mean, at 6:30 a.m. is not really like my cup of tea, so I'm not watching those games. I'm watching the highlights later.
Cup of tea. Love it.
Good one.
I didn't even know. I'm so good. Okay,
You're so good.
We're running out of time. We're just getting real chatty. So chill out or freak out. You guys, I'm going to start. Allen Robinson. Oh, God. God. It's not his fault, right? Like, it's Bortles, right?
Bortles.
I mean, oh, God, it doesn't matter at this point because that stud receiver is a big fat dud this season. I'm freaking out. He got 0 points, and that ain't good. He has combined for 4 points in the past 2 weeks, and that's worse. It's freak out time. I don't know what I'm going to do. And there's so many players on bye, you probably still have to play him, but you don't even want to.
That's right.
On bye? No, the Jaguars aren't.
No.
Okay, anyways. And then, yeah.
That's it.
He's a bust.
I think it's time to freak out a little bit on Matt Jones, who has a real fumbling problem.
Inconsistency with that guy. You just can't, you don't start him with confidence.
Exactly. But you'll inevitably have him on your bench the 1 week he goes off. But even
because that's how it works.
Redskins coach Jay Gruden admitted he might have his carries reduced this coming week against the Bengals. So you cannot play him with confidence. I would chill out on Martellus Bennett, who had a very slow game against Pittsburgh, but he should be back on track against Buffalo. Not as good a defense as Pittsburgh. And then speaking of tight ends, I think we can freak out on Zach Ertz, who's just underperformed since returning from his injury. A lot of that
you can't pronounce their players' names either.
Ertz.
It's Ertz.
Zach Ertz. I Ertz on the side of bad pronunciation.
Okay, keep going.
Let's see. Oh, you know what? Let's just stick with tight ends for one more thing. I can't help it. My baby Tyler Eifert is finally back. That said, give him a week. Give him a week before you start him. I'm not starting him as much as I want to, but he's finally off injured reserve.
Great. All right, Dr. Z.
Okay, well, the first guy I'm freaking out about, I mean, you've been freaking out about him, is Doug Martin. I'm starting to think he's not coming back. The coaches are being super vague about his injury. He's looking like a major bust. I mean, when I drafted him, I drafted his backup, and then he got hurt, and then I got Jaquiz, so I'm fine there. But, other people might not be. So keep rolling with Jaquiz. I wouldn't count on Doug Martin at this point. And regarding Jamal Charles, another guy that you're starting to get worried about if you've been patient on him thus far. Coach Andy Reid says they're playing it safe and not rushing him back, and it doesn't have anything to do with Spencer Ware. We know he experienced swelling in his knee on Friday, which is one of multiple setbacks he's had since suffering that torn ACL. It's not really looking good. Obviously, his age is a factor. It's all a little bit worrisome. Also, in his absence, Spencer Ware has continued to impress. He combined for 131 yards and 1 touchdown in Week 7. I'm looking at Charles as more of a December playoff run stash at this point, and I think that's what Andy Reid is looking at him as well. So I really wouldn't count on him, at least not right now.
All right, that's some good info. Okay, it's our favorite time. It's time for Bay of the Week. I wrote us a jingle just now. You guys are welcome.
Bay of the Week.
Okay, so you guys, my Bay of the Week, AJ Green, because he made the catch of the year on that Hail Mary pass. And it was like he like juggled it and he got it and whatever. But he's not even my Bay because of that. He's my Bay because AJ Green is a legit juggler. Yeah, that's right, ladies. My Bay was on a juggling team in grade school. He juggles things like apples and bowling pins, and I'm very into it. And so is his quarterback, which makes good use of those skills. If I could juggle, this would be the time where I juggle, but I can't, so I won't.
Perfect.
Well,
Allie,
who's your Bay?
I have to do it. We tweeted out on Thursday that Devontae Adams was trying really hard to be our Bay of the Week, and I'm going to give it to him. His first touchdown catch. His first touchdown catch through the arms of the Chicago defender was a thing of beauty. And beautiful. My fantasy opponent sat him, which is just music to my ears. Therefore, he was Devont Bay Adams of the week.
Perfect. All right, Dr. Z.
Okay, well, I would stop talking about Melvin Gordon if he would stop
but he
crushing
won't let
it.
You.
I mean,
he won't let you.
He is living proof that the yards per carry isn't everything. He got 2 receiving and 1 rushing touchdown in Week 7, which made him the highest fantasy scoring running back on the week. My Bay Bo, by the way, his dad calls him Bo. I got this little tidbit watching highlights of his 408-yard game versus Nebraska. I highly recommend if you guys are in a bad mood. There's this whole video thing with him and interviews and the highlights. It really brought a tear to my eye.
Dr. Z, I imagine you at 3 a.m. I found a video on YouTube I haven't watched yet. It's someone filming the screen of a highlight. It has 2 views and you're one of them. That's how deep you go.
Pretty accurate.
I've definitely gone down the rabbit hole on this one, but my Bay Bo is no one-hit wonder. He's actually the 3rd ranked running back in the league right now, behind only David Johnson and DeMarco Murray, and his rise has been amazing. Last season he was stressed out. He was comparing himself to David Johnson, and he felt like he didn't measure up. And now, buddy, you're right there. Bo, you're right there with him.
And that's huge for Badgers, because Badgers have been known to sort of not make it in the NFL for running backs.
Yeah, exactly. So that's good. Breaking the cycle. And I'm pretty sure he leads the league in touchdowns for running backs as well. So he's the man. And he's the man. Dr. Z's Bay. Okay, well, it's time for the final whistle. We totally have gone over time, but you guys love it and we love it. And we'll do the final whistle. Allie?
Yes, as we know, the Packers had a convincing enough win against the Bears on Thursday, so I changed out of my funeral mourning robes. I'm in my Halloween orange. So all I have to say is I cannot wait for this fantasy shootout, hopefully, because my team is Falcons and Aaron Rodgers. So I'm hoping for a Packers win and also for numbers, that also give me a fantasy win.
Okay, Dr. Z, final whistle.
2 things. First of all, Cubs are down by 2.
Yes.
Top of the 4th.
Thanks for
Not
that.
Cool.
Thanks for that.
Second of all, I didn't get a chance to talk about Ty Montgomery. I just
Oh, yeah.
love what happens when he gets the ball, whether he's running, receiving. When they
Fights
got him the
for
ball in the
every
second
yard.
half, it just everything changed for us. And so I
He's the
beg
best.
you, Packers coaching staff, continue to get him the ball. Don't wait till the second half when we're desperate. Feed him the ball all game long.
Montgomery Ward. What is that? Is that a department store? Go ahead.
I don't know. I'm gonna move on. All right, so you guys, oh man, you might get just as many points from Ravens running backs while they're on bye as you did if you started any of them this last week. They rushed for a franchise worst 6 yards on 12 attempts on Sunday. I mean, that is bad. It's abysmal. But wait, Harbaugh says that Kenneth Dixon should be getting more involved after the bye. No, you guys don't get excited. I've been so high on Kenneth Dixon, and it was, you can't always get it right. That's why, there are no fantasy experts. They're just people that really like fantasy and give advice based on what they pay attention to. Anyways, even if Kenneth Dixon does get more, more carries after the bye,
He has
it's not
to get
enough
more than
to keep him
-1
on your roster. So, boy, bye.
Boy.
Boy, bye after the bye. You guys, and then bye from us. So
And then bye from us.
All right, well, thank you guys
Girls bye.
so much. Boy, bye, and girls,
Girls,
bye, everybody bye.
We're
Thank you guys
so
so
cool.
much for watching. Follow us. We're so cool. We love Beyonce. Media platforms at the FF Lady League, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We give advice. We give updates. Just tweet us your questions. We love you. We will see you.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Go Melvin Gordon.
Hey.
Boy, bye.